Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator, actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8.
당신
Yeah? No way, was she talking to me?
그래, 당신 말이야.
Yes, you.
고전미술부 흥미 있어?
The Classical Arts Club, are you interested? Never in 1,000 years I have predicted her opening with that line. The Classical Arts Club?
말 그대로의 의미야. 학교 부활동인데.
That's what I said, it's an elective at our school. No, I heard you, it's just the first time I'm hearing about any Classical Arts Club. I had been a member of the art club a while back. Because of that, I knew there was no Classical Arts Club, just normal art.
그거야. 저번 학기에 막 만들어진 부활동이거든. 보다시피 지금 신규 부원을 모집 중이야. 부장은 나고.
Well, I just started the club last semester. As you can guess, we're looking for new members. I'm the president of the club. Well, that was the reason why she was just standing in the middle of the path like that. Though I couldn't see it. There was probably a hologram poster or sign next to the girl. Maybe little holograph pamphlets flying around her. Surely she was the source of all this commotion.
그래서 고전미술부에 흥미는 있어? 일단 선배 대접은 해줄 수 있는데.
So, are you interested in the Classical Arts Club? You can be my first recruit, Mr. Sophomore. She looked like a first-year student, and I was indeed in my second year out of the 3 at the school. She must have snuck a quick look at the hologram to look up my school ID or my social media account.
어때?
What do you think? Truthfully, I didn't have the tiniest bit of interest in joining her club. Well, besides you, how many members are there? I couldn't just turn her down like that, so I skirted around the subject.
없어.
None. What?
나 혼자야. 지금이라면 부부장 정도는 시켜줄 수 있어.
I'm the only member. If you sign up, I can make you the vice president. It really was a brand new club. Wait, could a student even make an official club with just one member? I'll think about it.
그 말 진짜야?
Really? You're serious? Of course.
좋아. 그럼 하나 가져가도록 해.
Good, then take one. The girl took a step backwards and slid her finger toward me. I saw nothing, so I had assumed she was pointing at a hologram. Was she handing me a flyer? My knee-jerk reaction was just to reach out and take whatever was there, but the last second I jerked my hand back. I'll just grab the information off the network later. See ya. I rushed off, not trying to hide the fact that something was wrong.
잠깐.
Hold on. Behind me I could hear the girl trying to say something, but all I could think about was putting one foot in front of the other and getting out of there. Grabbing for that hologram flyer had been a dangerous move. That flyer had been nothing but a hologram with no real substance under it. I could have probably guessed at its basic outline, from the fact that it was a flyer, but there had been no way for me to tell its exact shape and size. If I had tried to grab the paper and missed, that would have looked pretty weird to her and anyone else watching. It was common sense that anyone should be able to grab something right in front of them, if someone were to suspect that I was one of the blind. Needless to say, only the most devastating results would be waiting around the corner. So I just kept telling myself, running away may have been a little weird, but it had been the right choice. As I made my escape, my thoughts were all over the place. As I looked around, I saw that I was surrounded by nothing more than a bunch of featureless wooden dolls getting ready for class. As I went over to the window, though, I could still make out the shape of the girl in her school uniform and cardigan. How was I able to see her holograms? I had no idea. Was I going crazy? Maybe I wasn't. And there was something special about this girl. I couldn't tell what was going on. I wasn't sure how long I stood there, gathering my thoughts and staring at the girl through the window. Before I knew it, it was time for class to start, and the girl made her way toward the school as well. Classical Arts Club. For some reason, I was struck with a strange longing. Maybe it came from the fact that I had also been in the art club before. Either way, if I joined her club, I would be able to see her again. That was when it hit me. Seriously? Instead of wondering how I was seeing the girl's hologram, was I actually more concerned about how I was going to meet her again. Her strange behavior had shocked all of the other students so much that she was the subject of gossip during break. If I could find out some things about her, maybe I wouldn't have to join the Classical Arts Club after all. Hey! In the end, I couldn't hold it in and tried to strike up a conversation with the student next to me. He didn't look like he had anything better going on anyway. To reduce the risk of anyone figuring out that I was one of the blind, I had taken on the role of the outsider, but a small conversation with a fellow student wasn't completely out of the question. Yeah? But this guy, what was his name again? Did you see that girl stay in front of the school this morning? Looked like she was recruiting for people for her club. Of course, I saw her. No one will shut up about her. The boy was wearing an expression of shock. He probably had expected me to strike up a conversation with him. But he took it in stride and responded casually enough. And is that cheery little girl really a first year at our school? There are a few rumors going around. Few people in our department haven't heard of her. That was odd. You'd think I would have heard about her then. Really? It's like, who wants to paint in this day and age? I heard she makes art with actual paints and stuff. Paints, like watercolors. I guess, I'm not really into art. It's just paints, though. I heard she does it all. She even said that she wanted to do a sculpture. So she dug out a hammer and a big rock from somewhere and actually started smashing the thing up. I couldn't tell if that rumor was actually true. But if it was, she was a special girl. How had she found sculpting tools in a world of holograms? That's pretty amazing. Couldn't you get in trouble bringing a hammer to school? You probably could. There's a rumor floating around that one of the teachers buried her hammer somewhere. So the girl threw a fit and said she was going to leave the club. Some of the students in the art club were so moved by her passion that they all got misty-eyed. While I was trying to make myself invisible last semester, this craziness was happening somewhere in the school. But if she left the art club, why is she recruiting for outside the school? Besides, it was the second semester. Normally, new students did their recruiting during the first semester. The weird timing of her recruiting would have been enough to get people talking about the school. Maybe she left the art club and is starting her own branch. Starting her own branch? Yeah, they say she left some time during the first semester and set up her own club. She didn't do any recruiting back then. Maybe she was just getting supplies and planning activities. The rumors really swept through the school back then. Are you telling me you didn't hear any of them? This was all news to me. I mean, it's not like I was close enough to anybody to share our latest gossip. If he really thought about it, even though I didn't know this boy's name, he was probably the closest thing I had to a friend at this school, since he was actually taking the time to talk to me. Calling him friend might be pushing it, though. But all the club talk, can she really start a club when she's the only member? I didn't hear anything about her setting up the club alone, but according to what the girl over there was telling me, she had the top grades in the school from the moment she set foot in this place. Maybe they're just turning a blind eye to a few of the rules. From the depths of these rumors, a few mind-boggling facts were coming to light. But was that really it? Was she so overwhelmingly stubborn that she could push past my blindness and show her true self? I never heard of anyone as stubborn as she seemed to be. But that didn't seem to explain why I had been able to actually see her. More surprisingly, and all this girl stuff, you carry on a conversation better than I imagined you'd be able to. Isn't this the first time we've actually had a real talk? It's kind of weird actually hearing your voice for once. Is it really? I had no response, so I simply nodded in agreement, and just like that, our conversation was over. He took the pause in our conversation as a chance to play with his holograms. He was probably messaging a friend or something. He definitely seemed to think I was a little odd or something. Could it be that there were strange rumors floating around me as well? Heh, no way. After that conversation, I made it a point to listen to the other conversations with students so I could catch the latest rumors. I didn't enjoy eavesdropping, but since I couldn't access hologram boards to see what people were saying, it was my only path forward. As I started to piece together all the rumors, I figured out that this strange girl I had never heard of seemed to have already made quite the name for herself. Just like the boy told me, this wasn't her first eccentric behavior, worthy of a rumor. These days, it was rare to find someone eccentric as her. Her having the top grades of anyone in the whole school, being rather pretty, just added fuel to the fire. However, peculiar people were bound to have their fair share of mistakes. So after a few of the bigger rumors spread and died, people kind of expected the smaller things and moved on to the next topic of conversation quickly. Just like that, as time passed, people just stopped talking about her. It was good to know that she was quite famous around the school, and that I'd be able to meet her again. But before I could figure anything else out about the girl, it was time for lunch. If this was my usual day, I'd have my lonely lunch by myself, and then head back up to the classroom. But today was a little different. Today was monthly counseling day, so I was scheduled to leave school after my morning classes. As annoying as it was, all of the blind had to go in for regular mental health checkups and counseling. It wasn't like the sessions were able to cure the blindness, but they couldn't just do nothing about the illness. Regular counseling was the best they can come up with. For those of you who haven't watched part 1, This is a futuristic world where everyone has implants in their eyes that let them see and interact with tons of AI, holograms, and stuff, to where all the buildings are covered in holograms everywhere. Some people, though, for some reason, their brain just can't see it. The implants don't work. And for their world, they just see people wearing gray clothes and gray buildings, and they can't see or interact with the AI or the holograms at all. However, this regular counseling did nothing but confirm what they called incurable disease incurable. Honestly, it was nothing more than an annoyance. Leaving school early just drew more unnecessary attention to me, giving me all the more reason to be anxious. When all the other students asked me why I got to leave early, I had to come up with a reasonable excuse. I'd love to just get over it and tell them I was one of the blind, but that was simply out of the question. Unfortunately, the response would be less than favorable. Most people still doubted the very existence of the blindness. Most people thought it was just some urban legend or a ghost story made up to scare people. Because of the negative response, most of the blind chose to keep their illness a secret from the rest of the population. It had turned into kind of an unspoken rule among the blind. I had never actually met another one of the blind, though, so I couldn't be certain of the existence of this rule. But the fact that my counselors were constantly advising me not to tell others about my illness seemed to be proof that the rule did exist. The rule seemed to exist because the news stories intended to come out from time to time. There was one instance of a person murdering one of the blind, even though he hadn't been completely positive if the person had blindness or not. In the end, blindness is nothing more than a word, killed off by technology at most, and the new definition was written off by many as an urban legend. However, there was clearly a phobia spreading through the public. By the way, in the futuristic world, all actual blindness where your eyes don't work at all, that's been cured. Everyone can actually see now. But there are some people that can't see all the holograms and stuff. It was such a paradox, but whether or not everyone believed this surreal phenomenon of people not being able to see holograms, there was a very real dread. Because of that, the knowledge that it was much better not to tell people my illness had sunk into my very bones. Even though the public didn't really know the truth, calling someone blind had turned into a vulgar insult, slang filled with contempt. I had even been bullied once and looked down on after a rumor got around that I was one of the blind. The fact that this disease was incurable fed the public's fear. The herd of indistinguishable animals were also scared of my kind. But what about the girl I had run into this morning? The girl had been able to see so clearly. If she knew I was one of the blind, would she reject me too? I knew nothing about her, so it was a question without an answer. Still, I couldn't stop helping myself think what her response might be. I headed away from the school and boarded a bus that would carry me to the outskirts of the city. That's a long time ago.